Royal Red Line, the Princess of Wales's desperate warning to Sarah Ferguson. In the hallowed halls of the British monarchy, where tradition typically dictates silence and discretion, a new and volatile drama has reportedly erupted behind the gates of the Royal Lodge. It is a narrative of loyalty, manipulation, and the desperate struggle for reputation management in the modern era. At the center of this unfolding storm is a surprising intervention by the Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton, who has reportedly issued a stark and urgent warning to Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York. The message is clear, severe, and born of a deep concern for the future of the institution: do not fall into Prince Andrew's trap, or you risk destroying everything you have fought to regain. The situation centers on the complex and often baffling relationship between Prince Andrew and his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson. Despite divorcing in 1996, the couple has continued to live together at the Royal Lodge in Windsor, famously describing themselves as the happiest divorced couple in the world. They have weathered decades of financial crises, tabloid humiliations, and the catastrophic fallout from Andrew's association with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. However, recent reports suggest that the dynamic between the two is shifting in a way that has set off alarm bells at the highest levels of the royal family. Prince Andrew, stripped of his military titles, royal patronages, and public duties, is allegedly harboring hopes for a genuine romantic reunion, and perhaps even remarriage, with Sarah. For the disgraced Duke of York, such a move is viewed by royal insiders as a tactical necessity. Isolated and effectively exiled from public life, Andrew reportedly sees a reconciliation with Sarah as a pathway to stability and a means to soften his pariah status. By tethering himself to Sarah, who has recently enjoyed a wave of public sympathy following her battles with breast and skin cancer, Andrew may hope to humanize his image and claw back a semblance of social standing. It is this specific possibility that has reportedly prompted Kate Middleton to step out of her usual role of diplomatic observer and into the fray. According to sources close to the situation, the Princess of Wales views the prospect of a romantic reunion between the Yorks as utter madness and an act of total self-sabotage on Sarah's part. While Kate is known for her empathy and has reportedly felt a great deal of sympathy for the struggles Sarah has faced, her loyalty to the monarchy and her understanding of public perception have compelled her to speak out. Kate's intervention is rooted in a clear-eyed assessment of the damage such a reunion would cause. For years, Sarah Ferguson has worked painstakingly to rehabilitate her own image. Once the target of relentless mockery during the 1990s, associated with debt, cash for access, scandals, and the infamous toe-sucking incident, Sarah has managed to reinvent herself in her later years. She has become a best-selling author, a devoted grandmother, and a figure of resilience who has handled serious health crises with grace and openness. Her slow reintegration into the family fold was signaled by invitations to spend Christmas at Sandringham with the King, a gesture that acknowledged her improved standing. Kate reportedly fears that Sarah is on the precipice of throwing all this progress away. The Princess of Wales has allegedly warned Sarah that she cannot improve her image while remaining so closely tethered to Andrew. The warning, described by insiders as blunt but caring, urges Sarah to realize that blind loyalty is no longer a virtue but a liability. By standing shoulder to shoulder with a man whose reputation is irretrievably tarnished, Sarah prevents herself from ever fully moving on. Kate's reported advice is for Sarah to forge her own path, independent of the Duke and Duchess narrative that has defined her for so long. The phrase, Andrew's trap, which Kate reportedly used, is heavily loaded. It implies that the Princess of Wales views Andrew's desire for reconciliation not as a romantic gesture, but as a manipulative maneuver. The concern is that Andrew is using Sarah's loyalty as a resource to be exploited, a human shield against the freezing cold of public disapproval. By normalizing his presence through a beloved figure like Sarah, he attempts to shield himself from the full weight of his social exile. Kate is essentially telling Sarah that the public is willing to forgive her past indiscretions, but only if they see genuine change. Crawling back to Andrew would signal that she is complicit in his denial of reality, rather than a woman who has learned from the past. Furthermore, Kate's concern extends beyond Sarah to the couple's daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. These two young women have spent their adult lives walking an agonizing tightrope, balancing their love for their father with the horror of the accusations against him. They have attempted to build their own lives and careers while constantly being dragged back into the headlines by their parents' chaotic legacy. Kate, who represents the future of the monarchy alongside Prince William, understands that a renewed York circus would be detrimental to Beatrice and Eugenie. A remarriage would dredge up every detail of the Epstein scandal, dominating the news cycle and overshadowing the positive work the rest of the family is trying to accomplish. It would trap the entire York family unit in a cycle of dysfunction from which the next generation is desperately trying to escape. This intervention highlights a side of Kate Middleton that is often obscured by her polished public image, the steel-spined guardian of the firm's integrity. While she is often portrayed as the dutiful supporter, this report suggests she plays an active role in protecting the institution from self-inflicted wounds. She understands that the modern monarchy survives on the consent and respect of the public. In an era where King Charles is streamlining the operation and focusing on dignity and service, there is no room for the chaotic, soap opera antics that defined the Yorks in the 1990s. Kate is effectively drawing a line in the sand, signaling that while family love is unconditional, the institution's acceptance has limits. The advice Kate has reportedly offered, to show honesty, transparency, and class, stands in direct contrast to the perceived behavior of Prince Andrew, who many view as lacking in all three regarding his past associations. Kate is urging Sarah to choose the high road of independence. This does not necessarily mean evicting Andrew or cutting him off financially, as their living arrangements at the Royal Lodge are legally and logistically complex. Rather, it is a call for an emotional and public separation of church and state. It is a plea for Sarah to stop defending the indefensible and to stop allowing her own redemption arc to be cannibalized by her ex-husband's need for validation. Sarah Ferguson now faces a crossroads. Her loyalty to Andrew is legendary. She has stood by him when the rest of the world turned its back, honoring her wedding vows despite the dissolution of their marriage. To her, he is the father of her children and a good man. However, Kate's warning serves as a cold splash of reality. The world has changed. The tolerance for Andrew's behavior and the lack of accountability regarding the Epstein scandal is non-existent. A romantic reunion would not be viewed as a fairytale ending to a long saga. It would be viewed by the public and the press as an insult to the victims and a rejection of moral responsibility. Ultimately, this developing story is a tragedy of conflicting imperatives. On one side is the human desire for companionship and the comfort of a shared history between two people who have been through the fire together. On the other is the cold, hard necessity of preserving the dignity of the crown. Kate Middleton, with her eyes firmly fixed on the future of the monarchy she will one day head, has identified the danger. She has reportedly reached out to pull Sarah back from the brink. Whether the Duchess of York has the strength to heed that warning, or whether she will succumb to the familiar pull of the past, remains to be seen. But the stakes could not be higher, not just for Sarah Ferguson, but for the stability of the royal family itself.